Some days your mind feels like a dark room. Everything slows down, the world becomes heavy and silent. You wake up tired, even after sleeping all night. Your body moves, but your soul feels stuck in the same place. And the hardest part? From the outside, no one notices. You smile, work, reply to messages, do what you're supposed to do, but inside it's like you're surviving on autopilot. I know what that feels like. I've been there. It's the kind of exhaustion you can't fix with coffee or a weekend off. It's deeper than that, a kind of tiredness that lives in your soul. Burnout shows up like that, disguised as strength, wearing the mask of responsibility. Until one day you realize you don't feel pleasure anymore, not even in the things that used to make you happy. But there's a way out. And it's not just about working less or escaping from everything. It's about nourishing the parts of yourself that have been starving for too long. That's why today I want to talk to you about the top 3 mental vitamins every exhausted soul needs to take to overcome burnout. These are invisible nutrients, not pills or supplements, but habits that feed your mind and spirit. Before we dive in, let me ask you for one thing. If conversations like this speak to you, if you're trying to understand what's going on inside you and you want to rebuild your balance, then subscribe to this channel right now. This is a safe space for people who are tired of pretending to be okay. Here we talk about burnout and mental health in a human, honest, and compassionate way. Now let's talk about the first mental vitamin. The M1 vitamin is what I call the vitamin of a quiet mind. It's the nutrient of stillness. We live in a world that trains us to stay productive all the time, and even when our body stops, our mind keeps running. But the mind, just like the body, needs rest. That feeling of being unable to stop thinking, even when you go to bed? That's a symptom of a deficiency in this vitamin. I remember a time when I was proud of being busy. I thought saying I didn't stop for a second today meant I was strong and driven. Now I realize it really meant I didn't breathe all day. A quiet mind is a mind that can hear itself. When we allow even a single minute of true silence, no screens, no noise, no pressure, something inside us begins to realign. It's in that silence that answers start to appear, that your body realizes it can finally relax. But burnout steals that ability. It makes silence feel like an enemy. You try to rest, but your brain keeps working. That's why this first vitamin is so essential. The daily dose is simple, at least 5 minutes of silence a day. It might sound small, but it's in those few minutes that your nervous system begins to slow down. 5 minutes of deep breathing, not thinking about what comes next, not solving problems, just telling your body, you're safe. Now, the second mental vitamin, the M2 vitamin, is the vitamin of self-compassion. It's the nutrient that feeds your soul when self-criticism eats you alive. If there's one thing burnout loves, it's people who push themselves too hard. You always feel like you're not doing enough, that you could have done better, that you have to keep giving more. And when compassion is missing, your mind becomes a battlefield. I used to treat myself like an enemy. Everything I did was judged, harshly. If I rested, I was lazy. If I made a mistake, I was a failure. If I cried, I was weak. Until one day I realized that what I needed wasn't more strength, it was more kindness toward myself. Self-compassion is one of the most powerful vitamins, but almost no one talks about it. We're raised to believe we have to be tough, logical, productive. But being kind to yourself is an act of courage. It starts with small acts. Stop feeling guilty for being tired. Accept that you have limits. Recognize that even when you're trying your best, some things will still go wrong, and that's okay. When you treat yourself with gentleness, your mind stops fighting you and starts helping you heal. The truth is, no one recovers from burnout while still punishing themselves. Recovery begins the moment you start looking at yourself with the same compassion you'd give to someone you love. And this vitamin needs to be taken daily, especially on the days you feel like you don't deserve it. because those are the days your body and soul are quietly asking for care. Now, I want to ask you something. One of those questions that make you pause for a second. When was the last time you treated yourself with kindness? Without judgment, without hurry, without trying to do better, just allowing yourself to be human. If this question touched you, leave this in the comments. I want to learn to be kinder to myself. Writing it may seem small, but it's powerful. It's the first step toward acknowledging that you're ready to start over. This time, more gently. And maybe you're wondering, okay, what's the third vitamin? We'll get to that. It's the deepest one of all. But before we do, I need you to understand something. There's no healing from burnout without these first two. Without silence, your body doesn't recover. Without compassion, your heart doesn't rebuild. The third vitamin ties everything together. It's the one that restores hope and brings back the will to live with presence. Because overcoming burnout isn't just about recovering from exhaustion. It's about learning how to exist again, without losing yourself in the process. Burnout doesn't arrive like a storm. It sneaks in quietly, through small moments when you stop paying attention to yourself. At first, it's just tiredness. Then it becomes a heaviness you can't shake off. Until one day you realize you don't even remember what feeling truly rested feels like. When I was at my lowest, I thought the answer was to rest more, to sleep more, to take breaks. And yes, rest helps. But real healing only began when I learned how to feed my mind again. That's where the third mental vitamin comes in, the most powerful one of all. The vitamin of meaning. Because burnout doesn't just drain your energy, it drains your purpose. It makes life feel like a list of tasks instead of something that has color, depth, and direction. You start doing things because you have to, not because you want to. You stop asking why and start living only in the how. You forget the reasons that once lit you up inside. I remember the first time I felt this emptiness. I was doing what I thought I was supposed to do, working hard, being responsible, showing up for everyone, and yet nothing felt real. I was running fast, but toward nowhere. And that's what burnout does. It steals your why. The vitamin of meaning isn't about quitting your job or changing your life overnight. It's about remembering what moves you, what makes your heart expand instead of shrink. Maybe it's creating something. Maybe it's helping someone. Maybe it's just having mornings where you breathe without pressure. Meaning isn't about grand purpose. It's about presence. We were never taught how to feed our inner life. We learned how to chase goals, but not how to nourish our spirit. And that's why so many people feel empty even when they have everything. Because the mind runs on fuel, and that fuel is meaning. Taking this vitamin starts with asking yourself a simple question. What makes me feel alive? Not productive, not useful, but alive. When I first asked myself that question, I didn't have an answer. All I knew was what I didn't want anymore. The rush, the noise, the pressure. But slowly, piece by piece, I started remembering small things that brought me peace. Writing, sitting in silence, hearing the sound of rain, talking to someone without looking at the time. And it hit me. Life doesn't lose meaning. We just stop noticing it. You don't have to rebuild your life all at once. You just have to start giving yourself what you've been missing. The vitamin of meaning grows in the same soil as silence and compassion. When your mind is quiet and your heart is gentle with itself, meaning finds space to grow again. Sometimes healing isn't about adding more to your life. It's about removing what keeps you from feeling. The noise, the pressure, the comparison. Underneath all that, there's still a version of you that knows how to breathe, how to rest, how to exist without proving anything. You see, the recovery from burnout isn't just physical. It's emotional, spiritual, and deeply personal. You have to unlearn the idea that your value comes from how much you produce. You have to forgive yourself for not being able to do it all. And most of all, you have to give yourself permission to start over, differently this time. I won't lie, rebuilding isn't easy. There will be days when the exhaustion still whispers that nothing's changing. But every pause, every act of self-compassion, every quiet moment is a step forward. Healing doesn't look like fireworks. It looks like breathing again without guilt. If you're here listening to this, you've already started. You're already feeding your mind with awareness, with the kind of truth that can't be ignored anymore. Maybe that's your first dose of these vitamins: silence, compassion, and meaning. And the more you take them, the stronger your inner life becomes. I want to tell you something I wish someone had told me earlier. You don't need to go back to who you were before burnout. That version of you was surviving. Now you're learning to live, because burnout doesn't just destroy, it also reveals. It shows you what's been missing, what doesn't fit anymore, and what truly matters. It hurts, yes, but it also clears the path for a more honest life. So if you're exhausted, if you feel empty, if you don't know where to begin, start here. Find silence, practice compassion, and give your life meaning again, one small choice at a time. And if this message spoke to you, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. This is a space for people who are ready to heal, to slow down, and to rebuild. Not with pressure, but with presence. Remember, you don't need to fix everything today. You just need to take care of yourself. One breath, one step, one gentle moment at a time. Because one day, you'll look back and realize the burnout didn't end you. It just brought you back to yourself.